Hey, Savvy Squad. Welcome to Dr. Sev Talks Money, where we empower women to manage money confidently and create a future of financial freedom, security, and opportunity. Today, so excited to have you join us as we dive into our own personal finance journeys. Along with my wonderful guests, Tashieka and Nia, we'll be sharing the ups, downs, and breakthroughs that have helped us build a solid financial foundation. And listen, we want you to this to be aspirational and inspirational. Okay. So we're here to spark a conversation with you. So get comfy. Join us as we talk money, business, and how you can create the financial future that you deserve. Um, I am going to have Nia and Tashieka introduce themselves later in the show. But for now, we just want to kick off by, ladies, can you please share your personal money journey, your money story? And I'll start with Nia. Just what it was your, when you went, what was your aha moment that you realized I need to do something about my finances?
The aha moment for me that really made me realize that I needed to do something was, so I bought and lost my first house within a year,
Oh,
which caused me to have to file bankruptcy. And in the midst of starting over, I pretty much built the debt that I had released. I built up that and some after my bankruptcy. And so I had listened to the books, like I was following the steps of the books, but I hadn't really looked any deeper than that. And so when I found myself back in the same position again, and at the time, I was transitioning out of a role at the Postal Service. So I took about a $20,000 pay cut. So
wow.
now I'm in debt. 20,000. It's like, okay, what I was doing is not going to work anymore. At this point, I have to seek something different in order to get different results. So to me, that was my, like, in that moment, it was like, okay, girl, you got to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. Tashika, what about you?
Yeah, like it's always that moment when it's like I gotta do something different. Like this ain't working.
Like this can't be life.
Like this ain't it right now. But it's for me, it's like I started out, I was always in debt. Like even as I was increasing my income, like always having that cycle of debt. And I followed that guru who with all the baby steps of like how you need to get out of debt. And I don't know, for me, it just wasn't working. Like I was able to pay off debt, but I always found myself back into debt.
Mm,
And so for me, it was like that moment where I was like, I came back from South Africa and I was creating yet another debt payoff plan. I'm like, why? Like, why is this the same situation? And I'm like, I have to do something different because, like I said, this ain't it. This is not the life that I want to be making this money. And I felt like I was literally just working just to pay bills and debt. And so that was for me like the aha, like this something has to change. Like we can't keep doing this.
yeah. Yeah. For me, it was more, I don't know if it was, I guess it was an aha moment, kind of. I had always paid attention to my finances, but then when I went through a divorce, that caused me to really get intentional because I always saved. I always put money in my retirement account. I always did those things, but it wasn't intentional. I just did it because I was supposed to. I didn't pay attention to whether is it going to be taxable 401k or is it going to be Roth for 401? I didn't pay attention to any of that. All I was concerned with is they say I need to save, so I'm saving. They say I need to invest, so I'm investing. They say I need to do all these things, so I'm doing it with no plan for how am I going to use that investment later in life or all of that. And then when I went through my divorce is when I became more intentional and realized I need to be strategic with what I'm doing with my finances. And I think a lot of people may be in this position where they are doing the thing because they're supposed to. You're supposed to contribute to your 401k, contribute to your Roth or your traditional IRA or whatever. We're supposed to do that. So we do it, but we don't do it with a plan. We don't think about, okay, I'm contributing to my 401k and I'm doing all taxable, or all that's it's all going to be taxed when I retire. So I need to have a vehicle with something that's not taxable when I retire, so I can kind of balance that. So that wasn't in my mind at all. And I know there are people that are listening to us that probably are in the same boat. And please ask your question, your comment. This is more a relaxed platform. We're not here to preach to you or anything. We want it to be a conversation. And I see some people joining and leaving from YouTube, but I don't know who's on from Facebook or from LinkedIn, because StreamYard doesn't show us that. But let me ask you now. I know we all do budgeting our way. What's one budgeting habit or tool that you can swear by that really helped you take control of your money and really be more organized? I'll start with you, Tashieka.
Yeah, for me, the one method, and I've tried all the budget methods, but the one method for me that I swear by is paying yourself first. So I essentially just put money aside for savings and investing before I do anything else, because I know for a fact, with the way that I am, my family, like if we don't save, like that money's gonna be gone. So
Yeah.
like I literally have to prioritize putting away the money in savings and investing before I do anything else. And I swear by that method, like all the time. So yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah. What about you, Nia?
For me, it's actually writing things down. So I know we have a lot of apps, and it's a lot of, everything's electronic and it's 2025. But for me, nothing can replace, if I find myself where I've fallen off or I've gotten a little bit off track, with sitting down and actually writing down all the debt that I'm trying to pay off, writing down all my bills, going through my account statements, because me actually writing it, I retain more. It's more front of mind for me. I'm more mindful about it, as opposed to it all being electronically done. I mean, and just being real, a computer could never replace a person. So the computer makes mistakes when you use apps, and they're, automatically categorizing your bills. They categorize certain things incorrectly. I see it, with my clients, because I use electronic, and it's like, no, that's not what that was. And you have to go back, and nothing to me can replace actually writing it down, as far as to really put it in your mind, like, okay, this is where I'm at and this is what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, you make a good point. Because it is that connection. Like I find that too. And the whole, like when you're going through and it's like, oh, you spent $1,000 on these. Now I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and it's more work to reclass that stuff. I use Personal Capital, which is now Empower, and I have to constantly go in and change things. No, that's not what it is. And they put some weird stuff. I'm like, how did you get
this? How did you get here?
Yeah, for me, my favorite thing is for maybe about 10 years, when I guess I could do my before story, but for about 10 years, I did paper, all paper. Everywhere I moved to, I had my folder with my stuff. 1995 and all my things listed. 1996, all my and then I started using spreadsheets. So for me, Excel, I set up my little thing. I can capture it, and I'm kind of a little bit technical, so I can go in and create different things to link things together, and all the kind of fancy things. So for me, spreadsheets work. Apps are too limited, in my opinion. They're not even about the classification, but it's the way it's set up is, this is the way you're supposed to do things, and you can't deviate from it, because that's the way the person who created it set it up. So you're a little bit more limited in what you can do with apps. At least that's been my story, at least my discovery of using apps.
I agree. I also feel like it makes it too easy and out of mind. It makes it too easy to forget. It makes it, because it's done automatically. You never saw it. You're just out here swiping your life away, and you have no idea how this has affected your finances until you get that NSF, or that if you have an alert, you get that your bank account is below $50, or
Yeah.
it's like, oh wait, hold on, wait, what how? Like, so when you're writing it down, and not to say that you have to write it down like every single day, but when you're writing it down, I feel like it just keeps it front of mind for you.
Yeah. Hey, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. And to go tell a friend, please tell a friend to join us. And you can post your question if you have any questions about anything. This is a little bit more relaxed atmosphere, and we're talking about money. We're talking about how organizing our money has benefited us. Hey, Dominique, thanks for jumping in. How it has benefited us. So this is a little bit more relaxed. So please ask your question. We love comments. We love compliments too. So let us know we're doing a good job. Yeah, so we're kind of going through questions, just going through some questions while we wait for if anybody has questions. And we're talking about our journeys and what we're doing with our finances, and how organizing our own finances has helped us become more strategic about the way we handle our money. And I mentioned before when we were talking about what we like, how we budget, or we prioritize our budgeting tool. I have to go way back in 1995 when I love to read. In my first job out of college, because I came from Jamaica, went to school later years. So I didn't start when you guys started. And you're probably in your teens. I was older. And so when I love to read. So I was always at the bookstore, because my first job sent me to Moss Point, Mississippi. And I lived in Mobile, Alabama, and drove across the bridge. And I was in the bookstore every weekend. And the way you see me now, I was not this outgoing. Okay. I was so, I wouldn't say shy, but I was very timid. And so I would never make friends. The library was my friend. The bookstore was my friend. So I'd go there and I'd spend money all the time. And somebody gave us little booklets at the office, and I don't remember who it was. And I started tracking, and I realized I was spending $200 to $300 per month on books, and these were not educational books. Okay. $200 to $300, and it was a wake-up call. That was the first time everywhere I moved, the first thing I did was get a library card, because I had one before where I lived in Orange County, Florida. And I had one in Leon County, Florida, where I went to school. And I actually volunteered at the library. But this kind of woke me up to say, everywhere you move, the first thing you do is get a library card. And that has saved me a lot of money.
It will. It really will. I mean, and even if you like ebooks, now they have apps that you can use your library card to still rent books electronically. Like, definitely.
Yeah. Thanks, Dominique. Keep it up, ladies. He said, holding it down on a Sunday. That's commitment. Yeah, we try. Yeah, I'm going back to the library. I'm going to make a post maybe on LinkedIn, or maybe I'll do it in my newsletter, my LinkedIn newsletter, talking about LinkedIn Premium and options outside of that, how you can still access LinkedIn Learning, because one of the main things I signed up for that was LinkedIn Learning. And I found out my library does not have this program, but there are libraries where if you have a membership, you can get access to LinkedIn Learning through there. Cobb County Library in Georgia, Gwinnett County Library, I know those two have that program. I think Atlanta Public no longer has it. I'm not sure. I don't remember, because I did some research. And you pay $40 for a out of area membership, whatever they call it, but you're not in that county, and you pay $40 and you can still access LinkedIn Learning. So I have LinkedIn Learning now. I'm getting rid of LinkedIn Learning because I don't see the benefit. I'm going to talk about it too again in this post. And I paid $400 for Cobb County, and now I can access LinkedIn Learning. I can access my library my library and Cobb County at the same time. So, and there are other things that they do at Cobb County that I can access because I'm considered a member, even though I'm out of area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I like to share things like that where people maybe they're trying to do LinkedIn because of LinkedIn Learning, which is one of the main things for me. And it doesn't, it's not, to me, it's not beneficial, but we'll talk about that another time. Hey, Quilts and Chocolate, thank you so much for dropping by. We appreciate you. We are entertaining questions. So if you have any questions, we love compliments and we love comments. So please drop them in the chat. All right. So what's one piece of advice you wish someone had given you when you were starting to take charge of your finances? I'll start with you, Nia.
Give yourself grace.
Yes.
Give yourself grace, and understand that you're not perfect, you're not bionic, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's completely fine. This is just a part of your journey, but you still have the pen.
Yeah. I love that because the world is already hard on those who they deem poor, quote unquote.
Correct.
And we don't need to add to their voice in our heads.
At
So,
all.
yes.
Yeah.
They don't need any help.
No. Tashieka, what about you? What is one piece of advice that you wish someone had told you before you started taking charge of your finances?
Yeah, that I'm not bad with money. I would say that's the one thing because I mean when I tell you that I use every budget, it's because I was trying to figure out like there has to be something that I'm doing wrong. Because like, why doesn't this budget work and why doesn't this budget work? And I literally thought I was bad with money. But I would say that's the one thing is that you're not bad with money. And I had to learn that it's like you have to be taught. Like it's not a skill that you just wake up and you're born with and you know how to manage money. You learn how to manage money and it's not taught regularly. So you're not bad with money. And I have to tell myself that any mistakes that I've made, it's just a lesson for me to learn and be like, okay, what can I do differently? And that's something that I carry to today. It's like, it's not a mistake. It's like, what can I learn from that situation?
Yeah, that is so key. Because there are a lot of things that made us who we are.
Exactly.
And we have to understand that the way we look at money sometimes is because of our experiences, the way we see our parents look at money. I always give this example of somebody who their mom would get upset at their husband and would go shopping. And then you now find yourself every time you're upset, you go shopping. And you don't even realize that is something that a habit that was formed or a memory that told you when you're upset, this is what you do. When you're upset, you go eat the whole carton of ice cream. It's something that you do. The movies tell us this is what you need to do. You see all the people make with supposedly with a lot of money, people who are wealthy, the stars, the all those people, and they behave a certain way. And now we're thinking we're not successful if we don't do that. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah. You are successful wherever you are. What's your goal? Don't base your value and your goals and your measurement for success on somebody else. If success means I have $1,000 in the bank, celebrate. Okay. All right. So we have some comments and then I'll get some input from Tashieka and Nia. Quilts and Chocolate said, stock market on a small scale yet steady for the long haul. Nobody told. Yes. Yeah. You want to contribute consistently, whether the market is up or down. You contribute. Because there's something called dollar cost averaging. Like right now, stocks are on sale. Okay. So if you have the money, put some more money in your 401k, put some more money in your IRA, in whatever fund you have in your IRA, because stocks are on sale. So yes. Yeah, that's one thing.
That's another thing that I would say for myself that I also wish I knew. Like my very first 401k, Like I didn't know anything in my 20s. So when I left my job, I was like, oh, you know, there was like $2,000 in there. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna cash it out. Didn't know that, oh, you can roll it over and that money can grow. Like had no idea. So that's also, I wish someone had told me, keep that 401k. Like let that money grow.
Yeah. What about you, Nia? Anything you want to add?
For me, I think it was just paying attention to it as a whole. I didn't know, like, okay, you learn about budgeting, you learn about this, but you learning that, okay, all of these things are supposed to be working together to be a set
Yes.
system, like working towards your goal. Like they're not individuals.
Yeah.
They're all a part of one system. So they should be working together. So not just focusing on one part of my finances, but having to like step back and look at the whole picture so that I can, make sure the moves are complementing each other
Yeah.
and not working against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
you
is,
make a
oh
good
my
point.
gosh, that is
Yeah.
so key.
Yeah, that's something I feel like I wish if I would have known that, I would have approached it much differently.
And that is why, station break, that is why it is so very important that you work with a financial professional, because they have a bird's eye. They can have a bird's eye view of your finances. They look at the entire thing. If you're working with someone and all they're looking at is just one little part of your finances, you might want to take a step back, unless you have everything else together and you're like, okay, I need a little more help with this. You want to work with somebody like Nia and Tashieka and me, because we can help you look at everything. We're going to look at your saving. We're going to look at your investing. Now, we can't give you investment advice like, you need to invest in this stock or that stock. And that's the reason why we have a referral list. And we will refer you to people on our list, like Dominique that just joined. I send people to him all the time because he is a CFP and he'll be able to help people with investments and those sort of things. So an estate planning, but we can give you a bird's eye view and send you to more specialists. But you do want that. You don't want to start with a specialist. You want to start with a generalist who can look at your budgeting, look at your finances as a whole, and then tell you, okay, this is what you may want to do. This professional will help you take it further. Okay. Anything you want to add, Nia and Tashieka?
Yeah, I was going to add on to that because I think you hit a key point too of, before going to a specialist, because a lot of, and let me know you guys what you see as well, is it's a lot of mindset more than anything that we're coaching on rather than the actual numbers. And so you go to a specialist and you're trying to get investment advice and all that, but you're scared of putting your money in the market and you don't have that connection of like how it's going to grow for you. Like that's going to be a real issue. So working with a financial coach, like we can help you work on the mindset and really understand like what's happening, what are the habits and behaviors that are preventing you from managing your money. So I think that's a key point to kind of listen to of like, get your mindset right and then figure out, okay, what can you do to create the avenue so that you can start building towards the life that you want.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I also feel like the other part of it is with the same thing along the lines of mindset is your confidence level. So I see a lot of people not realizing how their confidence level translates into their money habits. So I can teach you how to budget, save, but I can teach you till my face turns blue. But if you don't have confidence in your financial actions and you haven't built confidence in these subjects, it doesn't matter what type of professional that you hire or contract, it's going to be hard for you to actually execute the plan that they create for you. You're going to fall off. You're going to do it. You might do well for about 2 weeks to a month, but then you're going to fall off and you're going to end up making the same mistakes because you didn't address your mindset that you brought into it. You have to make a shift there the same way you have to make a shift in your budget.
Yeah. We see people all the time and say, if I only had more money. And they get the raise and they're in the same place. If I only had more money, I win the lotto. 2 years later, I'm broke. If I only had more money, because it's not about the money. It's about your approach to the money. It's about the way you look at money, the way you manage money. Okay. And that's why with my clients, I always start off with the money habitudes. And I start off with Klon's, what is it called? I can't think of the
money scripts.
Yeah, the money scripts. I
Mhm.
always start off there with clients. If they need further help, then I refer them to a financial therapist. But
Mhm.
at least they have an understanding of what is it that could be roadblocks to moving forward with your money, because it's never about the money. I promise you that. Every time you get a raise, what do? You know, people are getting raises. They're getting all this stuff.
Before you get the raise, before
Yeah.
you fix a fix,
Yes.
I'm already planning out what I'm going to do with the extra money. Like,
you upgrade your cell phone. You decide now you need a new streaming service.
Okay.
yeah,
I,
I
I
got a
was
new
going,
car. Like,
Now your air fryer looking
I've been
right.
through it. Yeah.
I was going to a church, and one of the young ladies bought a new house. And the pastor said, now you need a new car to go in the garage. And that bothered me, because no, that's not the approach.
No,
You don't need a new car to go in the garage.
that's not how this works. That's not how this
That's the wrong mindset. You know, you bought a new house. Oh, you need to fill it with furniture. Or you bought a new car. Oh, now you all these things, because that's called lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
And then you're creeping, and before you know it, you're making 100,000. You live like this, and then now you're making 150, and people expect that you should live here.
Yeah.
People will never know how much I make because of the car I drive or the house I live in. They'll never know that's how much I make, because I'm not going to allow somebody to dictate how I spend my money and how I live my life based on how much I'm making, because guess what? They ain't gonna pay my bills.
Not going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I really want us to like normalize. Like, I think the normal thing is we get a pay raise and we want to go ahead and buy a car and a house. Like, let's normalize when you get a pay raise, you're increasing your savings and investments. Like, that should be the norm, rather than, okay, let me inflate my lifestyle. So I think if more people thought like that, like, all right, I'm getting a raise, let me go add an extra few percent to my investments, you'd be better off down in the long run. It's like shifting that perspective. But,
and I talk about that all the time, and it's basically, how people are like, oh, well, I work hard, I deserve this. I work hard, I deserve this. But that I deserve this is normally only attached to things.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's normally only attached to, I deserve this vacation. It's shifting the mindset to say, like, not to say that you don't deserve the vacation, you don't deserve the things, but you also deserve a full emergency fund. You also deserve a nice and flourishing investments. You know what I mean?
And peace of mind.
There you go. Yeah.
You also deserve financial stability. You know what I mean? And lack of financial stress. Like, you deserve that also. You working hard enough for that just as well as you working hard enough for that vacation.
And here's something that
needs to be made.
Something I used to do. So when we would get bonuses every year, and that's one of the shifts that I made was when we get like good bonuses, I did take 10%. Like, I'm gonna be able to, I worked hard. Yes, I'm gonna use that 10% for myself, and I'm gonna allocate some money towards my savings, some to my investments, and then other priorities. So it's like you can still save and invest and still enjoy life. It doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice everything just to save and invest. I feel like that mindset too is like, well, if I'm putting all this money, I'm saving for 10, 20 years down the road. Like, I want to enjoy life now. Well, you can still enjoy life now, but you can also prioritize your future as well. Like, it doesn't have to be either or.
Right, exactly.
Not an or, it's an and.
And, exactly, it's an and.
Yes, I love it. All right, so Stephanie said, let's see, focus my debt cleanup on one thing at a time is the advice I wish I had gotten. I try to tell people that and to stay out of credit card debt. Yeah, for me, credit card is a little bit different with me. And I tell my clients all the time, if you have no control, don't use them. But for me, because I am so anal and so organized, I use credit card to benefit me. I pay it off every month. But I traveled, my daughter and I just traveled to West Palm Beach last Saturday for a family reunion of sorts. I hadn't seen some of my sisters since my dad passed away, but maybe 11 years ago. And one came up from Jamaica, one came from Canada. So I was like, okay, I want to see my older sisters. And my daughter and I flew to West Palm Beach using points and only paid $22 for the flight. We flew down and back. $22 for both of us. Okay,
Mhm.
for that flight from points. So it's a matter of strategy. You have to use strategy, but if you know you don't have the control, then don't go ahead and use it. It's like anything else, right? If you know you can't control alcohol, drinking it, you don't drink it, because
Exactly.
it's not that alcohol is bad, quote unquote. You know it's bad for you. So you don't drink the alcohol because you know you're going to fall down drunk, you're going to do something crazy. So you don't touch it. Okay. So it's the same with credit cards. If you are strategic, you can use credit card or debt or any of those things. Debt in itself is not inherently bad. It's the way we manage it that
Mhm.
that causes issues. So if you're not good at it, managing it, leave it alone. Or work with us so we can help you manage it better.
And so that's so funny that you brought that up, because I literally have a video dropping like later this month about that exact thing, about rewards and the 524 rule, and saying like, but don't let YOLO, or don't let the rewards get you in trouble while you're chasing rewards, but the interest you paying is higher than the rewards you're receiving.
Yes.
So it's like, but if you don't think about it, you don't calculate that, you don't see that. And that's honestly what they count on you to do.
Yeah. And
They want you to do it.
I'm never gonna get a card with an annual fee. No.
Yeah, I'll tell you what,
Never.
because I was shopaholic with my credit cards when I was in my phase. But one of the things, like when I paid off my credit card, I actually stopped using credit cards for a while, because I kind of went to your point of like didn't feel like I can control myself. Now what I do is when I have my credit cards, I have all my expenses, my like fixed expenses on my Fidelity credit card, and they have rewards points. So it's something that's already in my budget.
Mhm.
I pay it off
Yes.
every week. And then when I get those rewards, that money gets automatically deposited into my brokerage account and it's invested. So like that's a strategy that I use. Is like I always like to say this. I don't recommend, using credit cards. I know for me myself, because I variable expenses, I don't want to use a credit card for. But if it's fixed and I know it's in my budget and I'm going to pay it off, that's what I do. But the main thing for me is like I know that if I pay it off weekly, it's like top of mind of like, okay, if I know I'm paying $600 a week for my fixed expenses, and for some reason this week it's like $700, $800, I know that I'm off track of either I added an extra fixed expense in there or something. So it's like little triggers that you have to put into place to keep you on track so that you're not letting the credit card win and charging you all sorts of interest and stuff. So I always like to say treat it like a debit card. Like
Yes.
once the transaction posts, then pay it off. Because
Yes.
what I found too, if you wait to the end of the month sometimes, then you're like sticker shock, like, I spent that much on my credit card. And then you're, well, I'm just going to pay it off over a few months. And now you're in the point of getting interest. So personally for me, it's like, I got to pay it off weekly, because I know myself, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, what happened?
Exactly. And that's how you build up a lot of debt, because you do it, and if you don't pay it off, like you say, if you're not paying it off weekly and don't have those set payoffs, you're like, oh, I pay it off when I get paid. But by the time you get paid, life has continued to life.
Exactly.
And now you have some other fire that needs to be put out. Now you have some other thing that you want to get. And that expense took up your extra money already.
Exactly.
So that creates that vicious cycle to now, what am I going to do? And I feel like we're getting the same trouble with the buy now, pay laters. Like buy now, pay later is not inherently bad. It's a great option. It's a great frugal option. But when you have 5 of them coming out at the same time, you still have your bills coming out every month. It can start to suffocate your income. And now your income's in a chokehold and you don't understand how to release the grip.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Stephanie's saying here that's true. Most people aren't that disciplined. They looked at it as free money.
Yeah.
The interest
That's
rates
how
are
I started.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my first credit card when I was like 17, right before I went to college.
Same.
And then I wrapped the money on it, and I was good at paying it off. But by the time I got to college, didn't have a job, and I actually landed in credit card debt. Like one of my cards got charged off, but it's like, again, did not have I thought, oh, it's free money, I can use it.
I was not good with my credit.
I bought my first computer on it.
Yeah, or think that, okay, I'm leaving school, I'm going to make money, so I can charge this, I'll pay it off. Forgetting that you're going to have rent, you're going to have car, gas, you're going to have to buy clothes for the office.
All the things you don't think about. Exactly.
All
Yeah.
the things we don't think about. And that's why financial education, personal finance education is so important. Financial literacy is so important because if when we learn these things, this is the basic. Financial literacy is the basic. And I know I hear a lot of people knocking financial literacy and oh, it's not, you need to look at financial therapy and all this other stuff. Yeah, we can't get there until we talk about financial literacy. We can't get there until we understand the basics of, hey, you don't spend more than you make. We can't get there until we understand that basic. So we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. So financial literacy is the foundation, and then you build other things on top of it. Because how do I know to invest if I don't know what a 401k is and how it works? Those things we have to be careful as a profession that we don't, because this is what I do, or because this is what I believe in, that this is what everybody should do. We have to be very, very careful about that as a profession. So, and when I see it post like that on LinkedIn, I usually make a post contrary to that and say something.
I think it's important,
like you just said, like you signing up for the credit cards because you don't know what your real bills are going to look like. You don't have a clue. You don't have a clue how to budget for those new bills because you need that basic foundation. Like I cannot build a house without a foundation. How am I building the bedrooms and the roof and I haven't built the foundation yet? I got to start there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we have another station break. I want you to, if you haven't already, go subscribe to Nia's YouTube, and it is at Money Perspective. You can just do this, the sign, go to YouTube and do at Money Perspectives, and you'll find her challenge. You'll find her channel, and you can subscribe there. Also, if you have not already subscribed to Tashieka's YouTube, you can find her at JAMAA. Don't forget that second A, Wealth. And that's at Jama. I'm going to say that wrong. I'll spell it. Jama. JAMAA Wealth. Okay. And don't forget to subscribe to the Dr. Seb Talks Money YouTube channel if you haven't already. We love to see you on our listening to and watching our videos, because when you put your comments under our videos and you ask questions, or even if you just comment something, it can spark an idea for us to cover that subject, because somebody else may need that information. And if we don't have the deep knowledge to cover those subjects, we are going to bring someone on our YouTube or our podcast that's going to cover that in a little bit more depth, because we are here to make sure that you get what you need in this personal finance streets. Okay. All right. Any questions? We're open to questions. Just please, put your questions in the chat. Whether you're on LinkedIn, if you're watching us from LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, just put your question and comments in the chat, and we love compliments. Okay. So one of the other questions I wanted to ask you, talk about a time, if you can think of it, when having your finances in order helped reduce stress during a challenging period. And the reason I'm asking this question is because somebody is listening or will listen to the replay. Welcome, replayers, who is stressed in their financial situation. So talk about a time when having your finances in order helped to reduce stress, and maybe they can help get their finances in order.
Oh, I got plenty.
Yeah.
I've had a wild ride these past couple of years. So July 2023, my car burned down on the side of the expressway, driving from Atlanta to Chicago. And so in the middle, well, not even the middle, I hadn't even made it to the middle yet, y'all. I was off of Calhoun, Georgia, I-75. Car burned down, all the way to the back seat. So obviously that was not going to be the vehicle that was going to get me home to Chicago, hours away. I had to book a hotel so I had somewhere to sleep that night. I had to find a way to get home. If I didn't have any money or any credit card or any way, that was the least of my worry, because I knew I had money to pay for a hotel. I knew I had money to get home. It was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to get another car. Like, oh my God, it was more that. But if I would have not had any financials, baby, I would have been a wreck in the middle of nowhere. So that's one. And then fast forward, the week after this happened, I found out that I was moving to Atlanta, and I had about 5.5 weeks to move. And then once I got here, the apartments were so expensive. It was like, oh my gosh. So I ended up having to buy a house. So car burned down, had to rent a car because my bright self didn't have the rental on my insurance. So I had to rent a car while they did their investigation, then found out I was moving. So moved across the country and then bought a house. That I would have been forced. I wouldn't have had a choice but to get an apartment, and then been stuck in an expensive apartment paying the same thing that I'm paying now if my finances and my credit and I didn't have down payment money and things like that weren't in order.
Yeah.
Completely different situation. I'm talking about I would have been a basket case.
Yeah.
I think it gives you more time to just like actually think through things. And
that's what I had time to focus on. I could actually focus on the strategy. I was able to focus, okay, I got 5.5 weeks. Okay, we're going to do this. Like, that's what I was able to focus my attention on. I didn't have to focus on, well, how am I going to get this money? Oh my God. Oh my God. How am I going to move? I didn't have to think about that.
That's awesome, because it prevents you making decisions in a panic.
Yeah.
And that's one of the worst things that we can do, is make decisions based on circumstances that's happening instead of really thinking strategic. So Tashieka, share with us your story.
Yeah, mine was 2023 too. June 30th of 2023.
You're gonna tell us the time and
I'm gonna tell you the time and the date.
Yours was exactly a month earlier than my car. Wow.
2 days after I came back from vacation. Okay. I get a little message pops up in my email. I'm like, that's odd. My boss wants to meet with me first thing in the morning, and the director. And I get on that call and I was laid off. And they're like, unfortunately, because they just gone through a merger, and they're like, your position, they're trying to streamline, and my position was being erased. And in that moment, I'm kind of like, I kind of knew it was coming. I'm like, I literally that day, Brandon announced, I told my husband, I think I'm getting laid off this morning. But it was funny because it wasn't like a panic, like, oh my gosh, I'm getting laid off. It was kind of like, okay, this is happening. But honestly, if I wasn't in the financial situation that I was in, I probably would have been panicking. And it was so much to the point that, got laid off. And I think they gave me like 3 weeks to like transition to other people overseas and like train them up on what I was doing. And I remember, like, I want to say a month or so after being laid off, maybe a month or two after, and my husband was kind of like, I know you got laid off, but it doesn't feel like, anything happened, because everything just continued on as it was. And I was like, you're right. I'm like, honestly, and it would not be like that if I did not have my freedom fund. If I did not already have my investments and stuff built up, because me taking that initiative to say, all right, we're going to build up our freedom fund, we're going to build up our investments and making sure that we have freedom. And I would like to stress this too, building freedom outside of my 9 to 5. I wasn't just investing in my 401k. Yes. I had an IRA, I had a brokerage account. So once I reached my savings in my freedom fund, I was bulking up my brokerage account and my IRA as well, so that I had access to money. And I'm to date, we're almost 2 years today, I've not gone back to corporate. It gave me the opportunity to be like, okay, you know what? I actually want to invest more time into John My Wealth and build this business up. And hands down, this would not be possible if I did not take care of my finances and build myself to this point where I have the freedom to even make that choice. So I think that's one of the things that I will stress. Is like, it gives me the freedom and the option. So when you get your finances in order, you have that freedom options to be like, all right, you know what? I'm not feeling this, so I'm gonna do something else.
Yeah. It definitely gives you breathing space.
I swear, because right now I I don't know. I might get laid off. I mean, with
No, we're not speaking that.
we not. But I'm not gonna lie to you. My first thought is I'm gonna go out the country for the first 6 weeks.
And
that was my first thought. It wasn't like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? It was like, well, I'm gonna take the first 6 weeks. I'm gonna go travel around, and then when I finish with that, then I start looking for a job. But same thing. I didn't think about it until it's like it's a different mindset.
It's a different mindset. Yes.
I have other, irons in the fire, as they say. I have my business going, so I have not dependent on that. Like you said, I have my IRA, my brokerage. I have other avenues that I've set in place to build the system. Like I said,
exactly,
it's all a system.
Yeah,
and I think that's the key piece that I want people to understand too. It's like once you create that system and create it in a way where you're actually building your freedom, then as we keep talking about, you have that mindset to be able to be in a situation where something's happening and just take a step back and be like, you know what, I can take time. Because a lot of times too, when you don't have that system, you're like knee-jerk reaction, and it's
the worst
most
thing
likely going to get you into a even worse situation because you're trying to react rather than, all right, let me sit down, let me think about it, let me look at all the picture and see what's happening, and then I can make a decision. Like it creates that space to have more ease,
And that's what I said. I had to say, like, okay, if I'm gonna, because I wanted to do it last year, I was gonna call it a Spanish sabbatical because I know Spanish, so I need to go to Spanish-speaking countries so that I can immerse myself in the language. So I was planning on doing it literally when I found out I was moving to the Atlanta area. That's what I was supposed to do, October 23, but then I end up moving here. So I was thinking, like, okay, well, if I do, that's my perfect opportunity to go do it. That's like, so like you said, I was able to step back and say, okay, you know what? Like I'll Airbnb my house and be gone for 6 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, and go finally get a chance to do something I've been wanting to do for years.
Yeah. Something just popped in my head. I was rereading Stephanie's comment about the credit, the interest rates are crazy. I know we were talking more about, the discipline of using credit cards, but I want to point something out is that you can get out of credit card debt.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So, because we're talking about, yes, we're talking about, how you use a credit card and all of that. But if you are in credit card debt right now and you're listening to us, know that you can get out of it. Okay. We all here, all three of us, are witness that is possible with determination, with a plan, with a plan, not just, let me do this, that, the other. With a comprehensive plan, we can help you get there. So you can look at your finances and see where you can, what you need to do next. What can you do next? We're not going to tell you what to do, but we can give you different suggestions based on what we see, because we're able to, again, to have a bird's eye view of your finances. For my story is when I walked away from corporate America in December of 2022 for about over a year. I really didn't focus on building my personal finance business or do anything like really to make money. I got opportunities dropped in my lap and I made a little extra money here and there, but I had built up my finances to the point where I knew if I needed to take a year before I jumped into doing anything, I had that option. And that is what I want for people who are listening to us. It's not, and believe me, for most of, I worked in corporate America, came to this country, as I said, I was in my 20s when I went to college. And I'm talking I think it was mid or late 20s. Okay. And so it's when I came here and when I went to work for about 27 years in corporate America, most of those years I was underpaid. Okay. I was managing people. The most I made at the company that I left before I went to the last one where I retired from was 80,000+. And people came in and they evaluated our salaries and they're like, oh, you are underpaid. They wanted to give me a piddly $12,000 more. And I'm like, no, you underpaid me for so many years. I had my reason for staying, which I won't go into. It benefited me to stay for other reasons, to be there for my daughter and all this other stuff. When I moved to my next job, I made sure I was paid. Okay,
Mhm.
really paid. I'm talking six figures and mid six figures paid.
I'm not mad at it.
Right, and
You know, because again, and I'm saying that to tell you that you don't have to be making a whole heap of money. I want you to make a lot of money now. Don't get me wrong, but you don't have to be making a whole heap of money to be able to pay down your debt. It's about strategy. It's about being intentional, and as we keep saying, is about balancing having fun, because we don't want you to live a life of austerity. We don't want you to live a life of cutting things all the time. It's not fun. We want you to enjoy your life, but at the same time, we want you to think about your 90-year-old self, your 100-year-old self that's going to be on the beach, maybe shriveled up, but you're going to be on the beach, okay, in your bikini, enjoying the sun, because you have the funds to do it. We want you to enjoy both spectrums of your life right now and when you retire. So I know
I
that
love
was a long rant, but
I was going to tackle. I love the point that you made about not, you said with paying off debt, and not focusing on, like, I can't remember the exact word you said, but essentially to the point of like being like sacrificing and not enjoying your life. I feel like for me that was the one thing, because when I was in that period of paying off debt, and I remember my husband he was not eating the Kool-Aid of the baby steps. He was like, "Why are we throwing all this money?" But I'm grateful to him, because it was when I got to the point of actually starting my wealth journey, I realized like I don't have to fully sacrifice everything and throw all this money at debt. I could actually find balance in being able to pay off debt and build up my investment portfolio. And that's one of the things I always say is like, yes, and it depends on your situation, because obviously if you have high credit card interest debt, like there's a strategy for that. But because of when I was increasing my income and I was in a position where I was able to focus on paying off debt and investing, like I was able to pay off $115,000 worth of debt and build a six-figure portfolio in 5 years, simply because I had a strategy. Because again, I was throwing all the money at debt, but I kept being in that cycle. The debt just didn't seem to be disappearing. And so it's like something has to change. And so when I decided, okay, let's balance and like, what am I actually working towards? Why am I doing this? That's when things started clicking. It's like, okay, now we're moving in the right direction. So like, just to say that you don't have to sacrifice everything just to like get out of debt, but you also want to think about building too,
Absolutely. I feel like if you go on and not have anything for yourself and complete, like we're not looking to go on a financial diet. Like this is a lifestyle, and science has shown that deprivation doesn't work.
Yeah,
it just doesn't
it
work.
does not.
Yes, not for anything sustainable. I literally have a chapter in my book called "Life is Short, Get the Uber Eats." And that's what it's about. Like if that's your guilty pleasure and that's that thing that you make you feel good, you get off work, you kick your feet up, give it to yourself, maybe every other week. As long as you're not doing it every single day, every single paycheck, consistency just means more times than not. It does not mean every single day without a break, without falling off, that's just not realistic, not sustainable. So it's basically saying that incorporate some rewards into your journey. Reward yourself when you're making strides and you're making progress. And I think that maybe Dr. Sev said it, like celebrate it also. Celebrate those small wins.
Yeah.
Those two things will help you actually stay on the journey.
Yeah.
Because it's a lifelong journey, like you said. Once you get the debt paid off, okay, now I have more money to invest. Okay, what other professional development am I looking at? What other things can I invest in to continue to diversify my income streams? Like, it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah. It's so key you say that, because that's the purpose of looking at everything, because we can be so focused on that one thing, and then when we reach the goal, then what? We feel empty. We feel empty. We feel like, okay, what's next? So when we have first of all, have a why. Why do you want to be debt free? Why do you want to be debt free so you can retire early? When you retire early, what does that look like? You have to really think about what it is that you're doing now, why you're doing it, where you want to go, and when you get there, what do you want to do? Because I promise you, if you don't have a strategy and a goal for your why, and a goal to achieve that why, and a way to celebrate that why, you're going to feel empty. Okay, you're going to feel like, okay, now I've done that. It's like when I was doing my doctorate. When I was done, I had PTSD. because I was up 3 o'clock in the morning studying and doing all these things, but I
Yeah.
wasn't strategizing. Okay, this is going to take this to achieve the doctorate, and then when I'm done, here is all I need to do to live, or even while I'm doing it, how can I set myself up to not have that void at the end. So it's the same thing with your finances. You have to be very careful that you are not just like, this is what I'm going to achieve. And then when you get there, what? Then what?
Yeah, because it can be very anticlimactic. I tell you, it was like you get there and you're like, oh, that was it. I just paid off all this debt. Now what? Like you want to make sure, like Nia says, it's like and reward yourself on the journey, so you're not be like, I did all that, I sacrificed all that, and now I'm at this point, and I just, like make it enjoyable. Like it doesn't have to be big, just like a little small.
Yeah, it's your journey. It's your journey. You are the CEO of your wallet.
Yes, you are. Thanks for joining us, Annette. We are going to be wrapping up maybe in a few more minutes, but please, we love questions, we love comments, and we love compliments. So if you have any of those, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Any comments towards any of the discussions that we're having, any questions that you have, that even if it's not your question, even if it's a question that you want answered for somebody else, drop it in the chat. And this is a no judgment zone, so we're not going to look like, oh, why is she asking that question? Why is he asking that question? No, we love questions because that gives us a chance to talk. Because I don't know about these two, but I love to talk. Okay, I love to talk about money. All right. So let me think about some other questions I can ask. I know for me, having the financial freedom, in a sense, and I'm still on my financial freedom journey. Okay. I'm a lot further than where I was several years ago. But I have found that it's opened doors for me and other opportunities. I think Tashieka and I talked about this when we were on our podcast, where, all of a sudden, you'll see, when you think about something, you see the thing. So we talk about buying a car. If I'm wanting to buy a red Maserati, all of a sudden, all I see are red Maserati. It's not because they weren't there before. They were there, but now because my eyes are open to opportunities, they're showing up. So the same thing for you, Tashieka and Nia. When you found that have you found that a clear financial picture has opened doors for other opportunities, or personal growth?
I would say yes. For me, it truly has. The rooms that it has afforded me to enter has allowed me to like network and meet people, because not to say anything's wrong with my my current friends, but you know the saying, your network determines your net worth. If you got 5 people who are excelling, you're going to be the 6th, and vice versa.
Yes.
So especially with somebody who recently relocated to a new city across the country, it's been very important for me to, of course, meet positive, great people to start surrounding myself with. So having that financial clarity has allowed me, this event is going on, I need to be in this room. And being able to get myself in that room, it's helped me meet a lot of wonderful, beautiful people. And even like, of course, professionally, but personally also. Because I like being around positive-minded people who are working to excel and be the best them that they can be, who are out and ambitious, because that's who I am. So those people are in certain rooms. So in order for me to get in those rooms, I got to have some type of financial clarity to get in those rooms and financial wherewithal. Secondly, of course, because my business is personal finance, I can talk about my topic. You could tell me, can you show up tomorrow for an hour and we need you to do a presentation on, no problem.
Yeah. That's my favorite thing to do. Workshop. I mean, I love doing workshops.
Can I please? I have a friend who she walks with me, and her daughter is like a teenager, and she's like, I would love to be able to get her friends together. And then, we do a presentation for them. She's like, I'll pay for the food. I host it at my house, like whatever I can do to make it economical to do it for them. You know what I mean? And so we did it. And I went to pull up. I said, well, what topics do you want to, look up? I literally had a presentation already already done, already been. So just having that knowledge, and I feel like it helps me be very more confident when I talk about what I do, when I talk about my zone of genius and about what I do and why I do it. I feel like it just gives me that,
that oomph.
Like
get ready so you don't
right.
Get ready so you don't have to get
correct.
ready.
So when people meet me here and they're like, "Oh, you did it?" Yes, like I do this.
Yeah.
She was like,
I love it.
I said,
actually
yes,
have
this is what I do.
2 workshops I'm doing at my local library in April, and I'm also going to be speaking to some Boy Scouts, 5 to 10 years old, here in a little bit, and I'm just so excited because that's when I started out, I wanted to do one-on-ones, but then I'm finding that my strength is teaching, breaking down things,
one to many,
and and it's nothing like doing a workshop and just
I love it.
And but anyway, Tashieka, what about you for that same question?
Yeah, so for me, like having that clear vision, again, allowing me the opportunity, 1, to survive a layoff, and then 2, just right now being able to have these conversations with you guys, building my business. I think for having that vision allowed me to be able to be in a space where I don't have to be stressed or worry about what's going on. It's like I can take the time to focus on the clients that I'm working with, to build this business, to network. And one of my things that I'm doing this month too is like actually getting out of my house, is what I say. It's like getting offline and getting out in the community. So I've been able to do a lot more of that, like networking events. I gave myself like, I need to go to 2 in-person events. I have some virtual stuff. I'm like, we need to get out there and actually talk to more people. But just being able to have the freedom to do that, right? To Nia's point, I know for me, I thrive best when I'm around like-minded people who are, going for like lofty goals, right? Because it's like, okay, we can, and Nia and I, we meet regularly too. So,
we do. We meet every other week.
But just like motivation of like, okay, we understand each other. We're going through the same thing. We're building a business. We're helping clients. You know what I mean? So it's like being able to strategize. I feel like when I think about my life before even getting into personal finance, I feel like now I'm more able to like network and communicate and like really be in a space where like I'm actually growing. Like I find that, I think I was just thinking about this the other day when I was journaling, like I find that now, like I love the growth of me, of, really diving into the personal finance space and even just the coaching aspect of things. I feel like I've grown as an individual, and like I find myself actually coaching, like my business coach actually would say, like, you'll find yourself start coaching people without even realizing it. And I notice that even now, like, because I don't know about y'all, like sometimes you'll be talking to someone and they're saying something and I feel like I automatically step into like this coaching space and wanting to help them, and like not me giving them advice, but having them realize and come to the result themselves, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a whole different space, and I love that growth that I'm doing. I feel like all of that started from the simple vision of me wanting to achieve financial freedom.
Yes.
And now I'm in this space, and it's like the vision is so powerful.
Yeah. The thing too is, one thing, the thing too is you mentioned something about talking to them. When you're talking to them, you're learning from them too. So even with my clients, even when they come to me and their money is like tore up, I'm learning from them too.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Nia.
So I was going to say also too, because I think I'm the only one on here who actually still has a job and still runs my business, and having the financial clarity and an official goal also helps me not feel pressure to leave my job right now, because my job and my health benefits and the money that they're putting towards my retirement, in addition to mine, that helps me reach my ultimate goal quicker. So for me, they are a part of my plan, and me knowing that helps me have confidence. And because a lot of times people are like, oh, you need to leave this. Your job is what they say. Your job is the bribe they pay you to make you stop working on your goals. Well, if you did that, that was a decision that you made.
No, and that's that or mentality.
My job was my first investor, is what it was.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
that or mentality, right? It's like, oh, if you're working a job, you need to be an entrepreneur. You can be in your job and be an entrepreneur.
It is really
I'll tell you what, entrepreneurship will let you learn a lot about yourself. Okay, like it's not for the faint of heart. I'll tell you that.
It is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, since I quote unquote
the
retired, because I'll never retire because I'm just that kind of person. But since I quote unquote retired, when you were talking about Tashieka going out to the community, all of that, listen, I am a homebody, and it takes everything inside of me to go
Me
to
too, girl.
that
okay,
Henry
so I gotta come
County
pull you. I gotta come
Chamber
pull
of
you out
Commerce
there.
meeting. It's on my calendar, and I'm just like, ooh, and
I
then
gotta
I
come
start
pull
thinking
Dr.
about,
Seb because Dr. Seb live in Georgia. I'm gonna have to come because I know I be outside.
it takes everything in me. I always find an excuse not to meet people because I'm just like, I am good with just being home with a bowl of soup and a book.
Mhm.
See, I like
But
both.
yes, I have to make an effort to
I
get
can do
out
both.
there, meet people. But the thing is, too, I think I'm bigger. I do better in group settings, so, which is why I love workshops, because I'm like up there and I'm just like I'm getting the feedback and everything. Because when I'm done with that, I have to come back and recover because I have introverted tendencies. So
Mhm.
that's one of the reasons why it's so hard. Man, if you knew me 10 years ago and now, you'd be like, oh, you're a different person, because I have made some strides, but
Yeah.
I'm still working on it. Because
Yeah.
if the push comes to shove, I'm gonna be in the bedroom with a book. Okay.
I can do both. Like I go out, I can talk to people. I'm one of those people you can talk to me in the elevator and we come out besties. I'm very extroverted, but I'm also okay with being at home by myself. Like I don't have to get my energy from other people.
Mhm.
I'm completely fine, like you say, at home. The only way I need to recharge is if like I go to a conference. So it's like multiple days of me talking and being on. Okay, now I need to go recuperate. But that's one day going out that I'm fine with. I can do, and I'm fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, me
I gotta
too.
work on that, Nia. Being in the elevator, I'll be just like, hi. Just, I have to work on that. One of the things I learned is show interest in people. And it's
Yeah.
not that I'm not
Yeah.
interested. I think it's more habit than anything else, because once I really start talking to you, you can't get me to shut up about personal finance.
Mm,
It's that initial stage for
Right.
me to
gotcha.
get
Okay.
to the point where I have that conversation with you, and then
It's
you'll be like
building the
trying to walk
rapport.
away from me because I
I
keep
know.
talking
I'm the
about.
same way.
Ah,
Once we
okay.
start talking, then you can't get me to shut up. But like that initial thing is like
But I'm gonna have to work on that.
Looks
All
like we got
right,
another
so
question.
I'm gonna do another station break. I'm going to make sure people are learning where they can connect with you. Nia's YouTube, you can find her at Money Perspective. So you can either use this link. I can put the link in the chat actually too. But you can just go to YouTube and do at Money Perspectives, and you can subscribe to Nia's YouTube so you can hear more conversations like this. And the same with Tashieka. You can go to at Jama. I keep messing it up. It's JA. Don't forget that second A. JAMAA Wealth. So it's at JAMAA Wealth. And subscribe. So again, you can get conversations like these and more nuance. This conversation is we are all over the place with different topics, but you can get specific topics, discussions on like credit, different things. Please go join their YouTube channel. And then, of course, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting on? Just go to find the Dr. Seb Talks Money YouTube channel and subscribe. We love to have you be part of. Oh, awesome! Thank you. We love to have you be part of our. What am I trying to say? We love to have you be part of our YouTube, our
Yeah.
tribe.
I
Because
think so.
again, we talk about all kinds of things. We talk about credit. We talk about um, how to build a business. We might not talk about it that way, but we talk about it in terms of how having your finances allow you to build a business. So we want you to be part of our group. And also, if you are interested in podcasts, find the Dr. Seb Talks Money podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, uh, everywhere that podcasts are shown, Amazon Music, all the places, you can find the Dr. Seb Talks Money podcast. And please, I have a podcast with Nia. I have a podcast with Tashieka.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and find them and support them. Put a comment in the on the YouTube channel or in the on the podcast, and let us know what you want us to cover, because we're here. We are your servants. We're here to serve you, and we want to make sure that whatever we're covering is relevant to you. So please go ahead and do that. Thanks everyone for joining us, and for those who are doing the replay, hopefully you made it to this part. Thank you so much for joining us. Nia, anything you want to wrap up with?
I just want to say lastly that self-care. So self-care is important while you go through this process. And it's important to recognize that there are different ways to apply self-care. Like self-care can be meditation. It does not always have to be like massages and facials and things like that, especially when you're on a serious money journey. Finding other ways to practice self-care for yourself, and also knowing that money management is a form of self-care.
Yeah, before you go,
I love
Tashieka,
that.
I missed this question from Annette. Yes, life insurance can be part of your financial package. You don't want it to be to the exclusion of life insurance. You want to make sure it's part of your overall plan for your money. So I don't know if that's what you're asking, but that would be my suggestion to you, is that it become a part of your overall money plan.
Yeah,
Anything
I
you
feel like
want
it
to
would be a
add?
part of the journey before you even get out of debt. Like
Right.
it's a part of your full system,
Yeah.
but you also research and find out what policy will meet your needs.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes. Just don't let somebody going to sell you a specific type of life insurance. Make sure that they give you the pros and cons of all of them, so you can get
Correct.
a good feel for what it is that you want. And here's the key too: make sure you know what you want before you
That's
go
most
to them.
important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you do not want them to tell you what you want. With any
Correct.
financial professional, before you go to a financial professional, determine what you are looking for. And then when you talk with them, then they can give you some ideas. They should be giving you pros and cons. Nobody should be selling you anything
Right.
specific. They should be giving you pros and cons of all the choices. And then you see what your values are, what your goals are, and then see what aligns with your values and your goals. And then you make a decision accordingly. And if you need to talk to more than one person, do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shop around.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Tashieka, what do you want to leave with the people?
Yeah, my last thing is kind of almost to the point with what Nia was saying, but more of, really when I talk about my framework too is balance and boundaries. Because when you're on this journey, like it's all about balance. Like it's not about sacrificing, but what works for you and for your life. And then also understanding the boundaries that you have to put into place. I know as a when you're on your financial journey, I know one of the things I had to do was one, making people aware of what I was working on, especially if there's people who depend on you or people who, may see you as their financial safety net. How you're going to put boundaries into place so that you're not essentially sacrificing yourself at the expense, at the expense of others. Like they're basically just depending on you. So you want to be able to create that balance and boundaries so that when you're on your journey, like you don't feel stressed and overwhelmed in the situation, that you are able to again have that self-care like Nia was mentioning while you're on this journey.
Yes, put your mask on first.
Yes.
Before you put your mask on other people. And especially as women, and especially Black women,
Yes.
we tend to take care of everybody else before we take care of ourselves. So we want to make sure that we are doing what we need to do to make sure we are whole and healthy financially before we reach out to help other people. Because it doesn't make sense for you to help everybody else and then you can't even take care of your bills or any of that. So thank you again, ladies, for joining me on this live stream. And for those of you who are going to or watching the replay, I'm going to make sure I put some timestamps in so you can jump to different parts. And we'll probably share different on social media, different parts, shorts, so that you can come back to the live stream and watch the entire thing. For those of you who have been with us from the beginning, And if you have commented and you have shared your perspectives and asked questions, we really, really appreciate you, because again, we didn't want to come here and just talk. We want to talk to you and with you about the things that you are concerned about. And we hope that we've done that today. Come back. We are going to be doing live streams. I'm going to be doing live streams on a regular basis on Sunday afternoons. I used to do these every week before I took a break for a year. I'm going back to doing that. I may start off once per month, then twice per month, because I'm kind of retired. So, so I'm trying to work my way back, because I took a year of doing nothing, and I need to work my way back to being on a regular basis on YouTube. So please subscribe to all of our channels. Again, I'm going to share. Go to at Jama Wealth, and the link is in the chat to subscribe to Tashieka's YouTube. You can go to, did I do? Yeah. You can go to at Money Perspectives on YouTube to subscribe to Nia's website. I mean, YouTube. It's been a long day. Or you can subscribe to mine at Dr. Seb Talks Money. Whichever one you subscribe to, I'd love for you to subscribe to all three. But know that whatever one you subscribe to, you are going to get real, good, strong, foundational financial education. It's not going to be some crazy stuff like some of these people on the internet are doing, things that are tickling your ears, want you to sign up for things because they're about making money. They're not about the integrity of the profession. Okay. So if you want anything related to personal finance and you want something that's going to be fed to you with integrity, you want to join all three of our podcasts. I mean, our YouTube. It's been a long day. Okay. Thank you for coming, Annette.
I know that part, Nia.
So thanks everyone again, and we appreciate you. And I told you I could talk about money for a long time. Take care, and we will see you at the next live stream. Bye, y'all.
Bye.